last several years at Carver, the whole school has participated in integrated projects by grade level. And this year we changed it up a little bit, and each classroom became a country with students in grades 9 through 12 focusing on social and environmental issues of that country. Throughout the school year, in every subject, students had independent research projects focusing on their particular country. So, for example, in art, students learned about areas of social justice issues in conflict in their particular area. And so they produced artwork that showed the social justice issue within their country.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you all own bikes, and today I'm going to show you how to repair the inner tube on your front tire, as well as some other basic tips and general knowledge that you might find useful for your bike. Now today I'm going to be fixing my mom's bike. It's been sitting in the garage for a while, and so it needs to get fixed.
If you haven't noticed, it's May. It is the month of May, and that means it's time for Mother's Day. Mothers do so much to support us. They cook for us, they do jobs, they yell at us and tell us we're no good. Edit that out. Mothers, we love you. We stop checking the camera, you're making a bad video. We love you, mothers, and for that we ask, what do you do to support your mother and how do you love her?
I support my mother emotionally. I sometimes, just try and make sure she has a nice day, especially on Mother's Day.
I support my mother by telling her I love her and doing housework and cooking dinner if she wants and making sure she has a good day, trying my best to make sure she's doing okay. Yeah.
So I support my mother because she has back injuries. I bring her coffee and I do work for her and I make sure she doesn't run herself into the ground cleaning up after my older siblings, and I send her texts sometimes, and I'm just nice to her. I unconditionally love her.
Thank you to all of our mothers for doing everything for us, not everything sometimes, but doing a lot for us and making sure we're going to turn out to be great kids. We love you and happy Mother's Day. Alright, I'm going to go edit
Great kids is a bit of a stretch.
You know what?
Hello, my name is The Mighty J, and welcome to Comic Book Mania. For this episode, I will be reviewing Logan. This film is rated R, and actors in the film include Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Boyd Holbrook, Stephen Merchant, Richard E. Grant, and Daphne Keane. For anyone who doesn't know who Wolverine is, as I've stated before, I'll be giving a brief history lesson on the character. Born in Cold Lake, Alberta, Canada during the late 1880s, James Howlett was the son of two rich farm owners, or so he thought. One night, the Howletts' drunken groundskeeper, Thomas Logan, out of rage kills James' stepfather, John Howlett. Because of this, James' mutant powers emerge when 3 bone spikes emerge from each of the boy's hands. He then proceeds by impaling Thomas with those bone claws to avenge John. But before Thomas dies, he reveals that he is in fact James' actual birth father. James then flees out of Cold Lake and adopts the name of Logan. Later in his life, James discovered that he had a healing factor and that it practically made him immortal. Because of that, he lived through many major events in the world, like the Prohibition era, both world wars, the Cold War, and the creation of the CIA. He later joined a Black Ops team called Weapon X. While in that program, he was experimented on and had a metal called adamantium fused into his skeleton. After he breaks out of the program, he joins a Canadian superhero team called Alpha Flight and is given the code name Wolverine by his teammates, and is later given a mission to stop a brawl between the Hulk and another creature called the Wendigo. Finally, after that brawl, Wolverine ran into Charles Xavier, alias Professor X, who offered Wolverine a spot on the X-Men, in which Logan accepted. That led him to where he is today. Now, let's continue on with the review of this movie. This film is set in the year 2029, and an aged and tired Logan, alias Wolverine, is now working as a chauffeur and lives with a dying Professor X and the mutant tracker Caliban across the Mexican border. One day, Logan encounters a girl by the name of Laura and learns that he and this girl have some sort of connection, and that Laura is being tracked by an evil corporation led by the cybernetically enhanced Donald Pierce and surgical head Xander Rice. Now, Logan and Professor X must do anything they can to protect Laura, even if this adventure might be their last. Now, to start with, this movie was fantastic. Its themes on maturity and family are spot on. Hugh Jackman has always done a great job as Wolverine in every X-Men film he's done. In this film, however, Jackman, in my mind, had his best Wolverine performance. He delivered on Wolverine's sympathy and his grouchiness very well. Patrick Stewart's Professor X was also given great development and performed well. Boyd Holbrook and Richard E. Grant were outstanding antagonists in this movie. They were ruthless and cold to the core. Stephen Merchant's Caliban wasn't a huge part of the movie compared to the others, but his character had a calm attitude, and that made him just as likable as the rest of the cast nonetheless. Last but not least, Daphne Keane was great as Laura, probably one of the movie's best aspects. Her character and her relationship with Logan made me think of how much Logan cared for her like a parent with a child. I cannot say enough about this movie. This is one of the best movies I've ever watched, and I'm personally going to give this movie 5 out of 5 claw marks. This is where the episode will be ending. Thank you for your time, and if you like this episode, please make sure to check out the previous episode. Also, stay tuned, because next we will be reviewing the video game known as Injustice: Gods Among Us.
Hello again, Carver Hub. Welcome back. I'm Taylor, as usual, and I'm joined today with Billy. This week in Indiana, a kindergarten system is getting a reboot. According to an article on IndyStar.com, a popular Indiana news site, the state will expand its kindergarten pilot program for low-income students from up to 15 counties and provide $9 million for these students in education. This expansion means that kindergarten students in low-income areas in Indiana will have better access to education. And while Indiana looks at more kindergarten education, most of the rest of the country and many other areas are looking at Waldorf education, rather than traditional public schooling for their students. Waldorf educators believe in the arts, sciences, learning through experiences, and the motto head, heart, hands. Head, heart, hands. I sought more information about Waldorf education, and now, with our own Lady Embry, Miss Jenks, and Adri, we have more information.
Waldorf education is important because it addresses the whole human being. Our modern education system is very good in many ways, but it tends to neglect, well, the heart and the hands. And Waldorf really addresses the head, the heart, and the hands all together and how those can be integrated. So we have at our school at Carver, we have art, integrated into everything, and that's the way it should be. Actually, I had heard about it like when I was a kid. There was a Waldorf school in town that wasn't far from where I lived, and it turned out later to be well, it was Sacramento Waldorf School, but it was in a different spot than it is now. And I was walking over there with a friend of mine when I was about 9 years old, and I looked in the windows and I saw these beautiful watercolor paintings. And then we walked through the grounds and there were these gardens, and I thought this would be such a fun school to go to. I was about 9 or 10 at that time. And I asked my parents about it, and they said, you know, they didn't really know much about it, and so they just said no. But anyway, but I know, my imagination was awakened, you know, about that. And then when I became a teacher, I looked into it again and found out at that time that the salaries were really low, and I thought, darn it, I can't, you know, afford to do that. But then when I had a son, somebody gave me a book. It's Rahima Baldwin's book, and the title is You Are Your Child's First Teacher. And I read that and I said, I don't care how low my salary has to be, but my son is going to a Waldorf school.
All right, tips. So if you're considering what kind of an education, maybe you're looking at as a student, well, gee, I want to take all these AP classes and things. That's great if you want to be pushed academically, but for Waldorf education, we're hoping that you get pushed as a person to become a better person. And so I would say the tips would be to take an opportunity to get to know who you are. Try as many things as you possibly can so you can figure out what you like and what you don't like. And okay, how has Waldorf education changed me as a teacher? I spent my first years teaching at an inner city school, and at that school I experienced like 12 different student murders. It was a very, very tense environment, and I left there kind of feeling that pressure of trying to take care of basically the world's problems. Coming into a Waldorf school, the goal is to develop people, and so to develop people, you need to develop yourself.
Being a Waldorf child means growing up in nature and constantly being surrounded by Mother Nature, earth, fertility, life, creativity, different expressions of interest and art. It's a different way of growing up. It's less, well, it's sheltered, but it's less exposed to a harsh environment, which gives you time to really be a child, which I think a lot of kids miss out on. And Waldorf education kind of gives people the opportunity to be a kid.
Waldorf education is more about teaching just the facts. It's more about understanding implementation, experience, thinking outside the box, arts, and what it means to be an actual student, and what it means to be a human being. Thank you, Carver Hub, and we'll see you all next time.
You want to step up to the front?
My first time at Relay for Life. I'm having a lot of fun. Not only am I here to spread awareness and help raise money for cancer research, yeah, I'm here having a good time and helping out, and everyone's uniting as one.
Oh, and education. Somebody with a name on it or whatever.
We're here doing it now, 5th year actually, and we did it at Durham High School last year, but I was moved over here, and it's just an event that we definitely love to participate in. Our families have been affected by it. It's our first year here, so we're happy to be here. So.